All right, I have to make a video on this because I bought this book thinking it was $7, but it was actually $17. All right, so let's get into it. A lot of people think that life is short, and contrary to the title of the book, Seneca argues that life is actually not short, but people don't know how to use time properly. And that's very interesting coming from a man who lived in a time period where the average life expectancy was anywhere around, depending on your class that you were in, anywhere around 30, 40, 50, 60. 60 if you were a high class citizen. If you were lucky, you could make it into your 70s. If you were a middle class citizen, 40s, maybe 50s. Lower class citizen, you'd be lucky to make it to 40. So it's very interesting that somebody who lived in a time period where life was actually very shorter than our life expectancy today is arguing that life is actually longer if you know how to use it. And also something else that I find very interesting is that even all these years later, 2,000 plus years later, we still have the same problems that the ancient people had, which, isn't really that surprising when I think about it because they were human beings too back then. It's not like they were another species. So we should be able to learn from people who had the exact same problem as ours 2,000 years ago. He says that people back then were wasting their time on insatiable desires such as success, power. He says devotion to tasks that are useless. And even all the way back then, people were escaping through drugs and alcohol. Laziness, people were getting caught up on the opinions of others. Corporate greed, seeking fortunes and complaining about their own life trajectory, even though it is their responsibility. And notice how it says the shortness of life and not the shortness of time. He says the part of life that we live is small, but all the rest of existence is not life. It's simply time. People are not mindful. People do not live in the moment. They don't make life worthwhile. He says they lose the day in anticipation of the night and the night in anticipation of the day. And that's something that I can relate to as well. Sometimes when I have free time to truly live, I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the consequences. And that's not to say that you shouldn't think about the consequences of your actions, but you shouldn't let it envelop your life. You have to live in a way where you're truly in the moment. And he says that we're always looking for leisure, but we never truly enjoy it. And maybe I feel that way at times because I feel like I didn't really earn that leisure. But that's a part of my responsibility to feel like I earned that leisurely time. And I feel like a lot of people aren't even aware of this either. As you grow up, your happiness isn't determined by your immediate surroundings, and it's more determined by your goal completion and how you feel about yourself. So if you feel like you haven't done anything and that you haven't truly earned any kind of leisurely time, you need to be mindful of that, and you need to do something about that. You need to fix that because that's your responsibility. A lot of people spend their life making it ready to live and not truly living right now. Seneca says that tomorrow is not promised. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. It may never come. The only time that you truly have is right now. He says this, and I quote, "Postponement is the greatest waste of life that deprives them of each day as it comes. It snatches them of the present by promising something hereafter. But like I said, tomorrow is not promised. And unless you seize the day, it flees." In the book, Seneca wants us to imagine that we are around a group of people and we have now reached our 100th year of life. And this group of people is asking us how much of our time, how much of our life was spent not living in the moment, thinking of the future. How much of it did we spend arguing over petty things? How much of it around people that we don't like? How much of it socializing? How much of it being envious? How much of it did we just waste? He says that you will see that you have fewer years to your credit than you can count. Now, it's important to understand that he was not an Epicurean. Living in the moment doesn't mean that you're always seeking pleasure, because this is what the Epicureans did. Their philosophy was to maximize pleasure and limit the amount of pain in your life. That shouldn't be your goal at all. In fact, you shouldn't even try to limit the amount of pain in your life, because that's where some of the truest living comes from. That's how you learn how to truly live. That's how you learn how to be in the moment. And that's how you learn that planning for the future is important as well. So yeah, you absolutely have time to live life. I have a full-time job. I go to the gym. I cook. I have hobbies like this. I have time to read books. I have friends. So yes, you absolutely do have time. Just put down your phone for a little bit, and I'm no anti-phone evangelist. I love my phone. But there are times when I catch myself doing something stupid on it, like playing a game, wasting time, when I could be reading an article, when I could be reading a book on my phone, when I could be educating myself, and I make time to live in the moment and create some good memories. And looking back, not all my best memories in life are from when I was intentionally trying to have a good time. A lot of the time it was just kind of accidental, but that's where the seeds of life sprout from sometimes. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah, time management. Stop doing stupid stuff. Accept the current reality that you're in because it's ultimately your fault. And just know that you can get through that if you plan ahead and don't waste your time and focus on stupid things that don't matter. Avoid distractions, and you absolutely do have enough time. And if you feel like you don't, then make room for it. So yeah, just quit complaining all the time and doing stupid shit and live your life. That's it. See ya.